Hi, and welcome back to our Candidates podcast, sponsored by the Responsible Parents for Wilson School Board. Tonight I'm here with none other than Amy Murray. Amy, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's been a long summer, and now school starts back up again. So yay!
Yay!
Take a couple minutes and kind of introduce yourself. Give a little background to anybody out there that's watching that hasn't met you yet, hasn't opened the door and had you standing on the other side of it.
Okay. My name is Amy Murray, and I am a 30-plus year resident of the Wilson School District. I have 3 children who've all graduated from Wilson. I am in the financial industry, in compliance, and I really love the Wilson community and just want to be involved.
It sounds like a great start. I appreciate it. So what I've been starting with everybody is, you're here, you've got a busy life. We're all busy. You've got jobs and life and kids and colleges and all that. What made you decide to run for school board?
A couple years ago, my youngest daughter, was having some issues in school, and that brought me to the school board meetings. I was begging for help. Some of the curriculum was very divisive, and it really put my daughter in a position where she lost friends and was very isolated from her peers. This was post-COVID. There was already a lot of political controversy going on in the world, and what I saw was that it was brought into the schools, and I was asking for it to be stopped. I didn't feel that politics, and I still don't feel that politics belong in the schools. I wholeheartedly believe in teaching history and teaching civics and giving kids the facts, not just the good facts, but the bad facts, the downright out ugly facts. Our history is not pretty. There's parts of it that is beautiful. There are parts of it that are just ugly. What I don't agree with is pitting children against each other for activism and a political gain. So that's what brought me here, and I got involved. I begged for help, and this particular group of people wrapped their arms around me and said, "We've got you. What can we do to help?"
Well, welcome to the group.
Thank you.
So it sounds like this is a little personal for you. It's not just you hearing these stories, but you kind of lived anybody that's watched the previous candidates, they've all used the same phrase, and transparency.
Oh,
it sounds like that's something that you felt you didn't get personally for your own family. So this isn't just you heard about it from somebody, or somebody else had a bad story and you love them and you want to be there for them. This is, you felt this.
Yeah, absolutely. My daughter had some unique circumstances in her life. She was in and out of the foster care system, and eventually when she came to live with me, I adopted her at the age of 13. She had a very traumatic background, which is why I was trying to get the school to intervene, because somebody needed to protect this child, my child. At the time, there was a lot of talk about equity and all this, very political, hot topic buttons were going on.
The buzzwords. Yeah,
the buzzwords, right? And my daughter went and spoke at a meeting and said, this stuff that you're doing doesn't include me. I wasn't privileged. I didn't live a life of privilege. I've lived a very tough life, and to be pitted against my peers is not okay. And she was very, very brave for doing it, but it just made things worse. And I actually ended up having to pull her out of the school for the remainder of that year. We did put her in homeschool, which she completed, and then she went back and finished her senior year.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I'm sorry that she had to deal with that, but you should be proud that she was willing to stand up in front of a group of adults and say, this is how I feel. There's not a lot of students that are comfortable enough in their own skin to do that. You've got to be proud of her for that.
Oh, I'm incredibly proud of her, and I've raised all of my children to think for themselves, to be respectful and kind to others, but to be able to be confident in their beliefs. I don't force my beliefs on my children. I don't want the school forcing their beliefs on my children either. I believe that children should be able to develop and become educated into their own beliefs.
And be willing to change their mind if they learn facts and details that are different than what I believe. And
exactly.
I agree with you 100%.
Exactly.
I kind of enjoy when my kids and I don't agree on something. They're a little bit older, so this isn't, my 5-year-olds aren't yelling at me, but when I can get into a disagreement with my children and they bring up points that are very valid, and I'm like, oh, you're a dang grown up. This is cool.
The best solutions come from working groups of people with different takes, different ideas, which again is something that I don't think our current board represents. I don't think they're representative of the community. I believe wholeheartedly that we need a more diverse group of people with different backgrounds and different abilities, different ways to look at things so that we can represent the entire community.
And work together to represent the community and work together with different viewpoints to make those daily improvements and weekly improvements and monthly improvements to help Wilson get back to what we all knew Wilson was for a really long time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get that with COVID, there's in general a loss in education for kids. I get that, okay? COVID was a circumstance that nobody was prepared for, okay? What I don't get is why we're not working as hard as we possibly can to catch those kids up. What is our plan? We've lost a ton of education. Our scores have dropped. What are we doing about that? How are we catching these kids up?
Right.
We're talking about building new buildings and, spending more money. What are we doing to catch the kids up? Because if we can have all the buildings in the world, we can have the finest institution available for every student. But if we're not catching them up and if we're not giving them the education that they deserve and need, we're not helping them at all.
No. Some would say you're failing them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there needs to be changes made, as we all saw from the public school report, that Wilson's now in the bottom 50%.
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
No, because
unbelievable.
Wilson's the best. We always have been.
The amount of tax dollars that we have coming into Wilson, there is no way we should be in the bottom 50%. We are failing our children. We are failing.
Well, would you consider that one of the top issues or the top issues? What are some of the concerns that you have?
I think for me, the top issues obviously is the education, the decline in education. Another one of the issues, and I think it kind of coincides with the decline in education, is the discipline issues that are going on at Wilson. Again, I think that we have gone away from holding kids accountable for their behavior. I'm a firm believer in if you don't hold a child accountable, starting at a very young age, and teach them right from wrong, you are creating adults who don't want to be held accountable. So it's not just a school issue, it's a societal issue, but it's very much being perpetuated in the schools because we have dialed back so much on our discipline. I get that there's new discipline styles and there's, new ways of doing things, and I'm okay with trying new things. But if we're having the same issues and we're not making progress and we're not teaching children what's right and what's wrong, then maybe we need to resort back to some of the older ways, the proven ways. Again, I'm not saying that my way is right. I'm willing to look at any style. But it really does start with holding kids accountable, empowering teachers to hold kids accountable. If we don't support those teachers, they don't feel like they can educate.
And what I find interesting is you didn't say expect the teachers, you said empower the teachers.
Absolutely.
And I've heard that from a couple of these conversations where, I know the feedback that we've gotten is some of the teachers feel like they can't. Like they're not permitted, is that the right way to put it, to follow through on the rules that are in place, or if they do, from what I've heard, it just kind of goes away. So
I mean, dress code is one of the things that I have seen change dramatically. Okay, and I get it. Look, I don't think it's fair that so many things are implemented on girls that aren't implemented on boys. Okay, I think that we need to do a better job in society to teach our boys not to be disrespectful to girls. I just think that that's somewhere where a lot of times we fail. Okay. However, I can tell you that when my older two children went to school, belly tops were not allowed. Tank tops were not allowed. I just think we have to get back to some sort of policy. We have a dress code policy. Why are we not enforcing it? Like, if we have a discipline policy, why are we not enforcing it?
Well, and especially because, young people, historically, they need to know what the rules are so they know what to follow them. If you're not enforcing the rules, they're going to very quickly learn, I don't need to follow them, because they're not going to enforce them anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like when you tell a toddler no, and they continue to do it, and you just sit there and do nothing. No, you need to get up, remove the toddler from that situation, and redirect them. And if you don't, you're reinforcing that you can say no over and over and over, and they can continue to do what they want to do. And that's where I see where the direction that we've gone. We've got these discipline policies, but if we don't enforce them, we have tied teachers' hands. We have told teachers we are not going to support you, and we have given kids permission to act a fool and get away with it. And I'm not okay with that.
I don't blame you there. So we talked a little bit about boys and girls, and I want to ask you a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about some of the policies that they've made regarding biological boys in girls' bathrooms, and kind of see how you feel about those policies.
So I want to first say that I believe that all children should be in an environment where they feel accepted and cared for. Okay? I am concerned, however, that some of these policies isolate out women and girls. Okay? Especially, the young girls, junior high, late elementary school, their bodies are changing. They're already very uncomfortable in their own skin. And to have a biological male in their bathroom or in their locker room or playing on the field with them, I don't feel it's equitable for them. We've talked a lot about equity at this school. We have done committees, equity committees. We have done a lot of research and community engagement about equity. And I believe that all kids should be treated equally, okay? I believe in fairness, and I believe wholeheartedly that we need to nurture every child. I don't think equity means, for one, we are going to isolate or make uncomfortable 500. I don't think that's fair. I think that there has to be a middle ground. I don't think that the solution is no, 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 or yes, yes, yes. I say we work together and find a way to meet in the middle. If we have a population of children that aren't comfortable using their biological bathrooms, then let's create a bathroom. Listen, last year with the discipline issues up at the high school, most of the bathrooms were shut down. So there's other bathrooms that we can designate for those children to be comfortable in. It doesn't have to be, they can be in the girls or the girls can be in the boys. It doesn't have to be that way. We can find a middle ground. As far as sports, I think that there's a couple of things that I find challenging with it. Number one, I was an athlete as a young girl. I worked really, really hard to be good. When I was little, I was better than all the boys. I was bigger, I was stronger. But that changes, okay? I played football in my front yard with all the kids in the neighborhood. My dad was the quarterback. I did all that. And they couldn't tackle me, and that was fine because I was bigger. But by junior high, I would have got hurt. There's a difference between biological males and biological females. We are not physiologically the same. It's dangerous for girls to be playing boys' sports with boys, and it's dangerous for girls to have biological males in their sports. I was a big advocate, and I think it's one of the things that I am so happy that they were able to accomplish at Wilson by developing and starting a wrestling team for girls. My son was a wrestler. I saw those girls trying to get into that sport, and I saw the damage it did to the boys. Boys have been taught, you don't hit girls. You're gentle with girls. And then you put them out there in the sports together, and, it's very conflicting. I just don't think it's fair.
I can completely hear where you're coming from on that. And the idea of the it's not equitable is I hadn't heard that take before, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
So I recently at my job was in a meeting, and we were talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity, or diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I got a new take on it that actually I thought was wonderful. And what diversity, equity, and inclusion is not is being equitable for this group and isolating another group. That's where I fear we have gone. It's not about blame. It's not about making people feel shameful. It's not about race. It's really about making everyone feel that they are included in one way or another. Equity could be something as simple as introverts and extroverts. If an introvert is in a room full of extroverts, are they going to feel included? Probably not.
I can tell you for a fact not.
Right.
Someone who grew up an introvert, yes.
So,
you're right.
So when you look at it in a bigger picture, let's focus on kindness. Let's focus teaching our children that if you see that kid sitting alone at lunch, welcome them to your table, or walk away from your table and say, hey, I'm going to go sit with so-and-so today. Let's teach our children, if you see somebody picking on somebody else, to say something. Don't join in. Let's teach our children to be leaders, not activists.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So let's play a little game.
Okay.
We're gonna fast forward time. You're now sitting on that side of the table. You're on the board.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do differently?
I would really focus hard on representing the entire community. I would I'm not saying it's easy, because I don't think it's easy. And I'm not ever meaning to put down the existing board or any past board members. I actually want to thank all of them for giving their time, because it's not an easy job. But what I think is most important in the change that needs to happen at the board level is transparency. I think there's a lot that's happening behind closed doors that the community's not aware of. A lot that's buried in a not so easy to manage website. I think the dialogue needs to be opened up. I think we need to have open dialogue. One of the first things that I would like to see is we have 2 meetings a month. I would love to see one of those meetings be an open meeting where we could sit and get ideas from the community. What are your real needs? What are you seeing? Like, give us some feedback. Let's talk about it. Let's have it be open. Because if I'm elected, when I'm sitting on that board, I want to be a true representative for the people of Wilson.
You've said a lot of positive things. You've got some really good insights. Things can get negative so quickly. What are some of the things that you think that the school district is currently doing well?
I absolutely loved when the athletes were out cleaning up their fields. I thought that was great. I mean, look, if we're teaching kids to take pride in their home, the baseball field is their field, the football field, it's their field. That's part of their home. It's part of their environment that's important to them. So if we're instilling that kind of morals and respect for where they live and where they thrive, I think that's amazing. And I was so proud of our district for doing that. So proud.
That's great. I don't know who came up with that, but it really is, and like you said, a sense of pride, because it is their home, and it is there, and that's something that they can learn and then take with them for generations.
Absolutely.
Like, they can teach their kids, this is how you do it. We've had a great conversation so far. We're kind of running out of time. I do have one more question for you.
Okay.
What didn't we talk about that you're like, dang it, John, I really wanted to talk about this, and you didn't ask me?
I'm not really sure. I'm just passionate. I'm passionate about kids. I want to make sure that all kids have the opportunity to really thrive in school. School's tough for some kids. There's a lot of talk about how high school is supposed to be the best years of your life, and it's not for everybody. Sometimes it's the worst years of their lives. I would love to see us go back to just the basics of teaching people, kids, how to be decent people. Show respect. Be respectful of each other. Respect your teachers. Respect your elders. Open a door for, hold a door for someone. And there's a lot of kids that do. There's a lot of kids that are getting that. The other thing is, I think it's really important for the school to stay in their lane. Really stay in their lane. Their job is to educate children. Parents are responsible to teach the morals and the beliefs that they think are appropriate for their children. I think the school needs to stay in their lane, focus on what they can do best, and educate our children.
Well, on that note, there's nothing better that can be said to top that. So I'm going to thank you for coming in one more time. I really appreciate taking the time out of your life to do this and to give back to the kids. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So this concludes this evening's candidate podcast. So we're talking about doing a couple more of these in some different settings and some different facilities. So we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot and have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.